Mascherano confirmed post-match that Messi will undergo tests to assess the severity. Harry Brook now matches Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill for the most World Test Championship centuries, with his third coming at a strike rate over 100. His rapid ton joins earlier quick-fire centuries against Pakistan and New Zealand. Brook also enters an elite group level with Lara, Azharuddin Afridi and Botham for 3 centuries scored in under 100 balls, trailing only Virendra Sehwag, who leads with 7. Lando Norris fended off teammate Oscar Piastri to win the Hungarian Grand Prix, securing McLaren's 200th Formula One victory. Holding firm on 1 ties, Norris crossed the line less than a second ahead, narrowing Piastri's start lead to 9 points heading into the break. Viewers, coming up on the other side, a new student-led political party has taken center stage in Dhaka, marking a bold call for change. More information we will be tracking in on the other side after this break. And also, the Syria ceasefire brokered by Israel is now under threat. We bring you more details after this commercial break.
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा, आर प्योर मसाला।
Mujawar has been a part of the ATS team that investigated this Malegaon case, and what he has to say today is explosive. He's breaking the silence. Mahmood Mujawar ji, thank you. शुक्रिया हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए. First of all, आपको ये फैसला आज सुन के क्या लगा? Do you think justice has finally been done in the case, Mujawar ji?
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर, कहीं तो न्याय हो गया। और ये न्याय मिलाने के लिए जो आपने जद्दोजहद की, जो आपने कोशिश की, वो सही में काम आई सर। खास करके मैं निरंजन स्वामी का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, जिन्होंने मेरा कोई तुम्हारे चैनल से कोई संबंध नहीं था, मगर मेरे को ढूंढ के निकाल के आपने अपने स्टूडियो में बुलाया था और बुला के मेरे को पूछ के सही तरीके से मेरा इंटरव्यू लिया था सर। उसका काम हो गया और अच्छा काम हुआ उसके अंदर। सही तरीके से सही जजमेंट, सही एविडेंस और जो चाहिए वो विटनेसेस मिल गए सर आपको।
मुजावर जी, लास्ट टाइम जब आपने बात की थी हमारे साथ, आपने एटीएस के बारे में बात की थी। आपने बोला एटीएस ने एविडेंस को फिक्स किया था। इस पूरा केस एक खोखला केस है। आपने ये भी बोला था कि ये जो विटनेसेस थे उनको मारा गया था। एंड लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, मुजावर हैड met us at Republic in Mumbai 6 years ago. He was going from one court to the next. He met us in our office. He came with us. He came to us with a bag full of documents. When he was fighting in the courts, and we sat down, we spoke to him, we understood that he was an ATS officer who nobody was willing to take at face value back then, because Parambir Singh was calling the shots in Mumbai. And that is why Mujawar never had the chance to speak. Mujawar ji,
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी बार। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा, आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years, during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was declining relative to the average income of every human on earth. That is a remarkably bad outcome for India to have had. If you want a dead economy, it is the Nehruvian Indira economy and the Rajiv economy. That was a genuinely dead economy. If you want an economy that is vibrant, this is that economy. The economy of India today under the Modi government is, in fact, the envy of the world. It may not be the envy of Donald Trump right now, but the simple fact is that the Indian economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. You can see this in the IMF's latest forecasts. They are very modest forecasts, but in fact, the economy of India has grown at an average annual pace of 8.
Election Commission issues a fresh notice to RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav after his missing name claim backfires. India Alliance to hold a meeting at 10 a.m. before the parliament session, meet to decide opposition's strategy. Mamta to hold a virtual meet with TMC MPs over the electoral roll revision. Is she fearing the same fate in Bengal? Asian Cricket Council announces venue for India-Pakistan match. BCCI continues to maintain a strange silence. FIR registered against a senior army officer after he's caught on camera assaulting 4 SpiceJet staff at Srinagar airport. Alright, viewers, some breaking news are coming in on top of this hour. Trump has warned of sanctions on Russia. He says that a U.S. envoy will visit Moscow amid the ceasefire push. Trump has warned that sanctions would be imposed if Moscow does not agree to halt the hostilities by 8th of August. That is the latest breaking news we are tracking in connection with Donald Trump and in warning of sanctions on Russia. He has gone ahead and said that the U.S. envoy will visit Moscow amid the ceasefire push, and Trump has also warned that sanctions would be imposed if Moscow does not agree to halt the hostilities by the deadline 8th of August. So there, once again, Donald Trump has sharpened his sanction threat on Russia, and he has also said that one of the U.S. envoy will visit Russia for ceasefire talks, and by 8th of August, if Russia does not agree to halt hostilities, then US will be imposing heavy sanctions on Russia. So we will have to wait and see what happens in terms of the relation between the United States and Russia at this point in time, with Donald Trump once again at it, sharpening his threat to Moscow and saying one of the US envoys will visit Moscow amid the ceasefire push. We was moving on. In a significant development that could reshape Bangladesh's political landscape, a new student-led political party has taken the center stage in Dhaka, marking a bold call for change just as the country approaches a critical electoral juncture. Here's more to the story.
a new political party formed by students who spearheaded the anti-government movement to oust former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, rallied in Dhaka, signaling a shift in Bangladesh's political landscape. The student-led National Citizen Party pledged to build a new Bangladesh amid uncertainty of the country's next election. Around thousands of supporters gathered at the Shahid Minar National Monument in the capital, where the party's top leader, Nahid Islam, unveiled a 24-point agenda for a second republic.
আজ থেকে ঠিক এক বছর আগে এই শহীদ মিনারে আমরা শপথ নিয়েছিলাম এই দেশকে স্বৈরাচারের হাত থেকে মুক্ত করব। আপনারা সেই আহ্বানে সাড়া দেওয়ায় আমরা সবাই মিলে ফ্যাসিবাদী শাসনকে পরাজিত করেছি এবং দেশের মানুষের নিজেদের কর্তৃত্ব ফিরিয়ে এনেছি। আজ আবারও এই শহীদ মিনার থেকে আপনাদেরকে আহ্বান জানাচ্ছি, আসুন আমরা সবাই মিলে আমাদের নতুন বাংলাদেশ গঠনে এই ঐতিহাসিক 24 দফাকে বাস্তবে রূপান্তর করে সকল নাগরিকের স্বপ্নের নতুন বাংলাদেশ গড়ি।
He further demanded a new constitution to replace the 1972 version, originally framed under the leadership of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Sheikh Hasina's father. Meanwhile, on the same day, supporters of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party's student wing also held a separate rally in Dhaka. Addressing the rally online from London, BNP's acting chairman, Tariq Rahman, urged his supporters to seek backing from young voters ahead of the next election.
মন দিয়ে শোনো কি আহ্বান আমি জানাতে চাই, তারপরে আমার এই আহ্বানের কথা ছড়িয়ে দাও তোমাদের সকল শিক্ষার্থী, সারা সমগ্র বাংলাদেশে ছড়িয়ে ছিটিয়ে থাকা সকল শিক্ষার্থী, সকল আগামীর বাংলাদেশ ভবিষ্যৎ প্রজন্মের কাছে যারা নতুন ভোটার, তাদের সকলের কাছে আমার এই আহ্বান ছড়িয়ে দিবে।
Rahman, who has been in exile since 2008, is expected to return to Bangladesh before elections take place. These rallies come just 2 days before the interim government, led by Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus, marks the anniversary of Hasina's fall. Sheikh Hasina fled to India on August 5th last year following a mass uprising that ended her 15-year rule. Yunus assumed power 3 days later, pledging to restore peace after weeks of unrest that left hundreds dead and thousands injured. The emergence of new political forces and persistent tension over election scheduling have raised concerns over Bangladesh's political direction. While hopes for a stable democratic transition remain, critics warn that ongoing violence, mob control issues, and human rights allegations may push the country towards further instability.
Viewers, let's shift our focus. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made an urgent appeal to the International Committee of the Red Cross to intervene and assist the hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. Now, this comes amid the mounting global concern over their condition, especially after the release of the disturbing propaganda videos by Hamas. Here's a detailed report on the same.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has urged the International Committee of the Red Cross to urgently intervene and assist Israeli hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. According to a statement from his office, Netanyahu personally spoke with Julian Larison, head of the Red Cross delegation in the region, requesting immediate delivery of medical aid and food supplies to the captives. The appeal comes amid growing alarm over the conditions of the hostages. Recently released Hamas videos have shown disturbing images, including one that appears to show an Israeli hostage being forced to dig his own grave. These visuals are widely seen as a pressure tactic aimed at forcing Israel to agree to a ceasefire. However, the timing of the release raises questions. It comes just as Israel has intensified its operations in central Gaza and is facing growing condemnation from international partners of the worsening humanitarian situation in the region. It also coincides with the time when Western countries such as France, Germany, and the UK are reportedly preparing to formally recognize Palestine. Observers believe Hamas is attempting to capitalize on the shifting diplomatic landscape to increase international pressure on Israel. As of now, 49 hostages are believed to still be in Gaza, of whom 27 are presumed to be dead. The situation is further complicated by warnings from UN-appointed experts that a famine is unfolding in the region, threatening the well-being of both civilians and the hostages.
Let's bring you more news on the other side. The Syria ceasefire brokered by Israel is now under threat just weeks after the deal barred the Syrian forces from entering western Syria. The Syrian military has reportedly re-entered the region, issuing threats to Druze minority. This clear violation raises doubts over the new regime's promise of peace in a tough position. Here's more to the story.
Syria, a war-torn country, has recently undergone a major political transition, as former President Bashar al-Assad was overthrown by Turkey-backed Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Since then, Turkey and Syria's new regime have called for a Syrian renaissance, claiming that the situation in the country has completely changed. However, systematic questions have been raised against the new regime over alleged crimes against the Druze and Shia Alawite communities. The most recent violence erupted in the Suwida region of western Syria, where a civil war broke out between Syrian Arab Bedouin tribes and Druze militants. The conflict triggered a major humanitarian crisis in the region, with many casualties from the minority Druze and Shia communities. The war not only worsened the already fragile situation in Syria, but also exposed the hypocrisy of the new regime, which had promised change. The conflict, however, ended with a ceasefire. The ceasefire agreement, brokered by Israel, explicitly stated that Syrian forces would not enter western Syria and that the region bordering Israel would be demilitarized. But just weeks later, the ceasefire was violated as Syrian forces re-entered the region and reportedly issued threats against the Druze community. This development not only violates the ceasefire agreement and endangers Syria's future stability, but also exposes the false promises of the new regime that claimed it would bring peace. The entire situation also raises serious questions for the United States, which recently waived sanctions on Syria, stated it wanted to give the country a chance at recovery.
All right, viewers, news coming in from across the globe. Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir condemned Hamas's release of videos showing hostage David during a visit to Jerusalem's most sensitive holy site, the hilltop compound in the Old City, revered by Jews and Muslims. Ben-Gvir said the videos were released to put pressure on Israel. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian visited Pakistan for his first official visit since assuming office, and Pezeshkian met with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and President Asif Ali Zardari. Talks between the two sides focused on deepening cooperation in trade, energy and regional security. However, the war in Gaza was also on the agenda. The U.S. Senate has left for its August recess without a deal on advancing President Trump's nominees. After tense talks and a fiery outburst from Trump's targeting Chuck Schumer, no breakthrough was reached. However, Republicans may push for rule changes in September as the Democrats continue to block fast-track confirmations. Federal officials are investigating Jack Smith, the former special counsel who investigated the then-candidate Donald Trump before his re-election for a second term. The Office of Special Counsel on Saturday confirmed the investigation. The Office of the Special Counsel is an independent federal agency, and Smith was named a special counsel to investigate Trump by then-Attorney General Merrick Garland. And supporters of Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro held a national protest demanding amnesty while calling for impeachment of President Lula and Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes. And also at this point in time, what we understand, the supporters of Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro held a national protest demanding amnesty while calling for impeachment of President Lula and Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. And in Rio de Janeiro, one of Bolsonaro's sons, Sen Flavio Bolsonaro, addressed a large crowd protesting in Copacabana Beach, and thousands of protesters held signs calling for amnesty, the impeachment of President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva and Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. Viewers, hundreds of thousands of young Catholics came to Rome for the 2025 Youth Jubilee. They gathered for a vigil held by Pope Leo, and the Pope urged the young people to have the courage to make radical choices to do good. Here's a report.
Hundreds of thousands of Catholic youngsters, Christian rock concerts, inspirational talks, and confession sessions. Thousands of young Catholics have gathered for the Youth Jubilee celebration. The Pope paraded through the crowd in his Pope Mobile, spreading joy and enthusiasm amongst the pilgrims. Pope Leo XIV marked his first big encounter with the next generation of Catholics. Pope Leo carried a large wooden cross to the stage. As the first American Pope, Pope Leo XIV presided over the vigil, marking a special moment in the Youth Jubilee celebration. During the vigil, Pope Leo urged the young people to have the courage to make radical choices to do good. The festival, held at Tor Vergata Field on Rome's outskirts, became a mini Woodstock for young Catholics. The Holy Year Youth Festival has been a powerful display of faith and unity amongst young Catholics from around the world. To celebrate the 2025th anniversary of the Incarnation of God, the Church invites all Catholics to celebrate the Jubilee of young people. The special moment during the Holy Year is an opportunity for young people to travel to Rome or celebrate stateside for an experience of transformation and hope. And despite the large crowds, Romans welcomed the enthusiasm of the young pilgrims.
And moving on, viewers, Ukraine launched an overnight attack on an oil depot near Russia's Black Sea resort of Sochi, leading to massive fire. Following the attacks, the Russian authorities briefly halted flights at the Sochi airport. However, the services resumed later on Sunday. Now, Russian officials further said that 4 people were injured in another drone attack by Ukraine in Voronezh region, and the country's defense ministry has said it had also shot down 93 Ukrainian drones over Russia and the Black Sea. Out of this 93, 60 were shot down over the Black Sea. Here's a quick report on the same.
Ukraine carried out a major drone attack on an oil depot near Russia's Black Sea resort of Sochi. Videos of Ukraine's drone attack showed thick plumes of smoke billowing above the oil depot. Following the attacks, the Russian authorities briefly halted flights at the Sochi airport. However, the services resumed later on Sunday. Russian officials further said that the 4 people were injured in another drone attack by Ukraine in the Voronezh region. The country's defense ministry stated that it had also shot down 93 Ukrainian drones over Russia and the Black Sea. Russia, meanwhile, launched a counterattack on Ukrainian drone production workshops and long-range drone control point. Russian Defense Ministry also stated that its troops captured another settlement in eastern Ukraine. In addition, Russia's air defense system shot down 1 guided aerial bomb and 338 fixed-wing. Meanwhile, in southern Ukraine, a Russian missile strike hit a residential area. Ukraine military said that the Russian had launched 76 drones and 7 missiles. Of 60 drones and 1 missile were intercepted. The reciprocal attacks ended one of the deadliest weeks in Ukraine in recent months after Russian drone and missile attack killed 31 people, including 5 children, and wounded over 150.
Gold prices in India saw a decline despite global markets witnessing a surge in the precious metals value due to safe haven buying. According to All India Saraf Association, gold prices in the national capital fell by rupees 400 to settle at rupees 97,620 per 10 grams for 99.9% purity. The government is planning to increase the outlay for the rare earth magnet manufacturing scheme to over rupees 5,000 crore, up from the originally proposed rupees 1,350 crore. In addition, the annual production target is likely to be quadrupled from 1,500 metric ton to around 6,000 metric ton. The move is part of a broader push to expand domestic capacity in the strategically critical segment of rare earth permanent magnets, which are widely used in electrical vehicles, wind turbines, electronics and defense systems. Prices for the Swiss watches, Swiss chocolate and Swiss cheese could skyrocket in a week as a result of U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war. Switzerland, home to some of the world's most recognizable luxury brands, now faces an upcoming 39% tariff from the U.S. industry groups, warned that both Swiss companies and American consumers could pay the price. Breaking news coming in. Air India Express flight took a U-turn and landed in Bengaluru amid a mid-air hydraulic snag. An Air India Express flight from Bengaluru to Kolkata made a mid-air turn back after developing a hydraulic snag. Shortly after takeoff, the flight, which departed Kempegowda International Airport at 7:16 p.m. yesterday, landed safely back at 9:19 p.m. A full emergency was declared at 8:21 p.m. as a precaution, and airport sources confirmed a technical issue for the flight to take a U-turn. It was a Kolkata-bound flight from It was an Air India Express flight from Bengaluru to Kolkata, which made a mid-air turn back after it developed a hydraulic snag shortly after takeoff. The flight departed Kempegowda International Airport at 7:16 p.m. yesterday, and that is when, after the takeoff, briefly after takeoff, there was a hydraulic issue which was faced in the flight, and then it had taken U-turn, and the flight landed back safely at 9:19 p.m. A full emergency was declared by the crew at 8:21 p.m. as a precaution measure. The airport sources have confirmed that there was a technical issue. What we also understand that the crew and the passengers all were safely put forward after the landing, and at this point in time, once again, there has been a mid-flight technical snag where Air India Express flight took a U-turn and landed in Bengaluru after a mid-air hydraulic snag. Now, this particular flight from Bengaluru to Kolkata had to turn back mid-air after there was a hydraulic snag which was reported shortly after the takeoff, and this particular flight departed Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru at nearly 7:16 p.m. yesterday, and then it landed back safely at 9:19 p.m. As in terms of precautionary measures, the crew had declared emergency at nearly around 8:20 p.m. as measures of precaution. And in terms of the sources, if we consider the sources from the airport, they have gone ahead and confirmed that the flight did face a technical issue. So at this point in time, we are also awaiting a statement from Air India Express at this point in time after the flight returned back. Aishwarya, my colleague, is joining us live from our newsroom. Aishwarya, help us understand what exactly happened because this particular flight, Air India Express, bound to Kolkata from Bengaluru, had to make a mid-air turn back. All right, we will try and connect my colleague Aishwarya in a bit time, but let us help our viewers understand who are just tuning in. Air India Express flight bound to Kolkata from Bengaluru had to make a mid-air U-turn after it had developed hydraulic snag, and this happened shortly after takeoff. This incident is reported from yesterday evening at around 7:15 p.m. when the flight departed from Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru. It was landed safely back at around 9:19 p.m. but the crew had declared emergency at nearly 8:20 p.m. Measures of precaution. In fact, there have been several of aircrafts facing technical snags in the recent days. We have been reporting all these updates, whether it is an Air India flight or an Air India Express flight. In fact, Indigo aircrafts these days are also facing several technical issues. All right, we are connecting back with my colleague Aishwarya, who's joining us live from the newsroom. Aishwarya, help us understand what exactly happened in terms of the hydraulic snag, is what we understand coming in from our sources, the airport sources, that this was the reason that this particular flight, Air India Express flight, had to take a mid-air U-turn.
There have been multiple cases of yesterday also. We got to know about this Singapore-Chennai flight that was cancelled by Air India due to technical issues. And yet again, another issue, technical issue that Air India is facing. This is an Air India Express flight that we are talking about. But, what is very important is that whether we get into hydraulic issue or any other issue with as far as technical issue is concerned, the point is that repeatedly Air India is facing these issues. Yesterday it was a Singapore Chennai flight, and that was cancelled due to technical issues, and now another flight had to take a U-turn. So we are repeatedly seeing Air India Express facing technical issues. And remember, especially there is an increased scrutiny after the big crash that happened earlier, just a few months back, in which, and there is an increased scrutiny by the DGCA as far as technical issues are concerned. And amid this scrutiny going on, we are witnessing a number of technical issues that Air India is facing.
Absolutely, Aishwarya. Appreciate you joining us and giving us those details on that particular story. We will be also trying to get in more updates on the same. And viewers, it's time to slip into a short break. And coming up on the other side is the Election Commission issuing a fresh notice to the RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav after his missing name claim has gone ahead and backfired against him. And also tracking in, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to hold virtual meeting with the TMC MPs over electoral roll revision. Is she fearing the same fate in Bengal? And much more on the other side.
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो,
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
Republic TV and R4 Sports, they are trying to do something big in sports. They are dreaming something big. They are trying to take out all the untold stories from the athletes, from the academies, and from other sports stakeholders. And I guess this should be there in the national stage. The R4 Sports and Republic TV. Good luck.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार, क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The Indian economy has been the fastest growing G20 economy for 8 of the last 11 years. And those are the only 8 in the last 77 years, during which India has been the largest, has been the fastest growing economy among the G20. So during the years that Rahul Gandhi's family ruled India, India's per capita income was declining relative to the rest of the world. Just listen to that. The average income of an Indian was declining relative to the average income of every human on earth. That is a remarkably bad outcome for India to have had. If you want a dead economy, it is the Nehruvian Indira economy and the Rajiv economy. That was a genuinely dead economy. If you want an economy that is vibrant, this is that economy. The economy of India today under the Modi government is, in fact, the envy of the world. It may not be the envy of Donald Trump right now, but the simple fact is that the Indian economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. You can see this in the IMF's latest forecasts. They are very modest forecasts, but in fact, the economy of India has grown at an average annual pace of 8.2% in real terms every year for the past 4 years. And it has achieved that with a current account deficit of less than 1% of GDP. India has the lowest inflation now that it has had in about 15 years. And in fact, the only time that the current account position has been better than this is during the last 3 years of the Vajpayee prime ministership. So when the NDA rules India, India achieves much better macroeconomic outcomes. To call that a dead economy is fatuous in the extreme. Had India agreed to a trade deal with the United States, I think India would have benefited even more.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Headlines coming in on top of this hour. Election Commission issues a fresh notice to RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav after his missing name claim backfires. India Alliance to hold meeting at 10 a.m. before the parliament session. Meet to decide opposition's strategy. Mamata Banerjee to hold virtual meeting with the TMC MPs over electoral roll revision. Is she fearing the same fate in Bengal? Asian Cricket Council announces venue for India-Pakistan match. BCCI continues to maintain a strange silence. FIR registered against a senior army officer after he is caught on camera assaulting 4 SpiceJet staff at the Srinagar airport. Trump's associate accuses India of financing Russia-Ukraine war via Russian oil deals. Viewers, breaking news coming in. Trump's associate has accused India of financing Russia's war through oil purchases. His remarks escalates US's pressure on India. Viewers, a top aide to former President Donald Trump has accused India of financing Russia's war in Ukraine by continuing to purchase oil from Moscow. Latest breaking news coming in on top of this hour. As we understand, Donald Trump's associate has gone ahead and blamed India for the Russia's war continuing with Ukraine, and he has also escalated the pressure on US's pressure, I beg your pardon, on India. And the top aide to President Trump has accused India of rather financing Russia's war in Ukraine by continuing to purchase oil from Moscow. More breaking news coming in. Donald Trump has warned of sanctions on Russia. He says that U.S. envoy will visit Moscow amid the ceasefire push. And Trump has warned that sanctions would be imposed if Moscow does not agree to a halt the hostilities by 8th of August. So there we understand Donald Trump once again building his pressure at this point in time on Russia by saying that sanctions will be issued if there is no halt to the hostilities by 8th of August. That is one of the fresh salvo and a threat by Donald Trump coming in at this point in time. He's warned of sanctions on Russia and said that U.S. envoy will be visiting Moscow amid the ceasefire push, and there will be sanctions imposed if Moscow does not agree to halt hostilities by 8th of August. Some more breaking news coming in a fresh attack on Sanatan Dharma. Congress leader Udit Raj claimed that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had to bribe for his coronation due to the existing caste system. He says that he was the only coronated after he had bribed the Pandits using food and money. He further said that Sanatan Dharma promoted caste discrimination. Udit Raj, the Congress leader, who has now come out and said that there is caste discrimination that is being promoted by Sanatan Dharma. He has gone ahead and slammed Sanatan Dharma and said that there is caste discrimination that can be seen being promoted by Sanatan Dharma. So there is, of course, going to be a response coming in from the side of the BJP. That is something that we need to ascertain at this point in time.
है सनातन, बताएं कोई तो हम सनातन पर चर्चा नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये अगर तो ये जो अस्तर न ढकना या लोटा गले में बांध करके निकलना पड़ता था शूद्र को, कमर में झाड़ू बांधना पड़ता था, ये हिंदू नहीं थे क्या? तो जब हिंदू थे और सनातन था तो इनके साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ? जब बराबर ही सब थे सनातन सभी, तो सनातन या तो सनातन नहीं है या तो सनातन में भेदभाव होता है। जवाब दे इसका। गांधी जी ने बड़ी बात कही थी कि हम तो सनातन को डायनामाइट से उड़ा दें। बाबा साहब डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने सनातन को छोड़ करके बौद्ध धर्म में चले गए।
All right, let's get to some other news. A full-blown war of words has erupted in Bihar ahead of the state's assembly elections. RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav has escalated his attack on the Election Commission of India after he claimed that his name had been deleted from the voters list. Now, without missing a beat, the Election Commission also served a notice to Tejasvi Yadav. And just a day after this stunning allegation, Tejasvi is now questioning the Election Commission's integrity, accusing it of deliberately hiding voter data. Now, this comes hot on the heels of the Election Commission's release of the draft voter list following a special intensive revision exercise. Here's the full report.
Hot on the heels of the ECI fact-checking Tejasvi Yadav, the RJD leader took another swipe at the Election Commission. In yet another stunning claim, Yadav stated that his name had been deleted from the voter list.
ये एप्लीकेशन है, मेरा भी नहीं है। हम चुनाव कैसे लड़ेंगे? ये चुनाव आयोग का एप्लीकेशन है और मेरा EPIC नंबर हमने इसमें डाला है RAB29162120। चुनाव लड़ने के लिए आपको बूथ वोटर बनना चाहिए, बिहार का वोटर होना चाहिए।
Just a day before, it was the ECI setting the record straight. Yesterday, the BJP launched a no-holds-barred attack.
ये एप्लीकेशन है, मेरा भी नहीं है। हम चुनाव कैसे लड़ेंगे? अभी तो देखिए, ये चुनाव आयोग का एप्लीकेशन है और मेरा ईपीआईसी नंबर हमने इसमें डाला है। ईपीआईसी नंबर अगर आप चाहें तो हम बता भी दें। RAB 2916-120 इसमें कैप्चा आता है। हाँ, अच्छा आ रहा है। अब हम डालते हैं, आप देखिए, डालो। What does it mean?
ये मैं दो आपको दिखा रहा हूं जो इलेक्टरल रोल में एनरोलमेंट होता है और जिसमें एपिक कार्ड नंबर होता है। ये 2020 का आप इलेक्टरल रोल बिहार का देख सकते हैं और 2020 में भी विधानसभा के चुनाव हुए थे। 2020 में भी आपके तेजस्वी यादव जी चुनाव लड़े थे, विधायक बने थे। 2025 का भी आप देख सकते हैं इलेक्टरल रोल, जिसमें अभी जो जारी हुआ है, दोनों में इस कोने पे आप एपिक कार्ड नंबर देख सकते हैं। आप देखिए 2020 और 2025 का एपिक कार्ड नंबर एक ही है और वो एपिक कार्ड नंबर जैसे मैंने पढ़ा RAB 0456228 एपिक कार्ड नंबर जो होता है वो 10 डिजिट नंबर होता है। किंतु तेजस्वी यादव जी ने एक नया नंबर अपने ही वोटर कार्ड का दिखाया जो गलत नंबर बताया गया था। कल प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में जो बताया गया था वो वोटर आईडी कार्ड देखिए आप। तो दो वोटर आईडी कार्ड हैं, एक वोटर आईडी कार्ड जो मैंने आपको दिखाया और वह एपिक कार्ड के साथ यह है और दूसरा वाला यह है जिसमें दूसरे एपिक कार्ड नंबर का जिक्र कल तेजस्वी जी कर रहे थे। यह है तेजस्वी यादव की हकीकत। इसमें से सच कौन, इसमें से झूठ कौन? तेजस्वी यादव दो जगह वोट डालते थे, आप सोचिए तो इनके कार्यकर्ता क्या करते होंगे।
ECI, on the other hand, is not taking this lying down. In the latest, the poll body served a notice to Yadav over his remarks. In fact, ECI has also asked the RJD leader to hand over his EPIC card for investigation since it was not issued officially. This back and forth is the latest in the series of explosive claims against the Election Commission. Coming just days after the poll body was forced to respond to the allegations of electoral manipulation made by the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. The battle lines are now drawn, and the political bickering over the voter list is only set to intensify. The spotlight is squarely on the verbal volley between RJD and the ECI.
Breaking news coming in from the national capital, where two Nigerian nationals have been found in Delhi's Chanakya Place in Dabri area. The bodies of the two have been found on the first floor of a clothing showroom. The bodies have been sent for post-mortem. The deceased have been identified as Joseph and Chibitan, who used to reside in Burari. An initial investigation reveals that they had arrived at the Chanakya Place from Burari a day earlier, and further investigation is underway. So two Nigerians have been found dead in a clothing showroom. Probe is right now on, and the two identified as Joseph and Chibitan, they were discovered in a clothing showroom in Dabri in southwest Delhi, and their bodies were found on Sunday morning in Chanakya Place, and investigations are continuing. Let's get all the updates. Akhil, my colleague, is now joining us for more details. Akhil, what details you have about these two Nigerian nationals who have been found in a clothing showroom? What does the initial probe reveals?
Well, if you see, a shocking incident has come to light from Dwarka district, a Dabri police station area. And what they have got to know from the police forces that two Nigerians have been found dead from a first floor building of a clothes go down. And both the persons are Nigerian citizens. And at this point in time, the police have reached the spot. And apart from the Delhi police team, the crime team, the FSL team, have reached their spot and they are inspecting the reason behind it. But right now, so far, as for the prelims information, no physical sign of any kind were found on the bodies of the two individuals. So no foul play has came to notice into the Delhi police notices. So right now, both the bodies have been sent for the postmortem at hospital mortuary, and they are also waiting for the postmortem report. So once the postmortem report will come out, then only things will be clearer that what was the exact reason behind this death. But so far, the two persons who have been found dead from a showroom's godown have been identified as Joseph and Tibetan. So both the Nigerian citizens' body have been sent for postmortem in Burari area. And after that, what we have seen that the legal proceedings are underway in connection with the case.
All right. Thank you, Akhil, for those details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on that story. All right, viewers, let's move on in the bulletin now. Relentless rains have wreaked havoc across Himachal Pradesh, triggering floods, landslides and widespread road blockades as well. Over 270 roads, including key highways, remain shut, and a major hydropower project has also reportedly collapsed. Now, in a district, Una, unprecedented rainfall was recorded, prompting the closure of schools as well. The state government is on high alert, while the opposition leaders are flagging large-scale devastation, particularly in Mandi. Here's a ground report.
Heavy rainfall has created havoc in Himachal Pradesh, triggering floods and widespread road closures. Intense rainfall has caused the collapse of hydropower project and has left hundreds stranded. In Mandi district, where key roads including the Kullu-Manali highway pass through, as many as 174 roads have been shut. Over 100 roads remain blocked in Chamba, according to the State Emergency Operations Center. The heaviest rainfall was recorded from Una district, bordering Punjab, where 260.8 millimeters of rain was recorded in a single day. Waterlogging has been reported on roads and markets, and all educational institutions in Una have been shut until further notice. Flooding has also affected the Chandigarh-Dharamshala National Highway, further hampering connectivity. Addressing the problem, Deputy Chief Minister Mukesh Agnihotri said that the state government is on full alert, with district administrations instructed to prioritize public safety and take swift emergency measures. While visiting the flood site, leader of opposition and former Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur has raised concerns over the massive destruction caused by the recent disaster in Mandi district.
आपदा के कारण जो नुकसान हमारे इस इलाके में हुआ है, मंडी जिला के अंतर्गत, इस नुकसान का जायजा लेने के लिए राज्यपाल महोदय जी पिछले कल से मंडी में आए हैं। पिछले कल मंडी में भी जहां नुकसान हुआ, 3 लोगों की ज़िंदगी गई जेल रोड में, वहां पर भी जा कर के आए कि ऐसी उन्होंने कल्पना ही नहीं की थी। नुकसान हुआ है ये जानकारी थी, लेकिन नुकसान इतना ज़्यादा हुआ ये जानकारी नहीं थी।
He estimated that the total damage in the area is to be over rupees 1,000 crore, urging the government to act swiftly and provide relief to the victims.
And a daring robbery took place at a jewellery shop in Chandbagh's Lane number 4, where armed criminals entered the premises. They looted cash and jewellery and valuables from both the shop owners and customers at gunpoint. Here's a short report.
A robbery incident took place in a jewellery shop in Chandbagh's Lane number 4. A complaint has reportedly been lodged in Dayalpur police station regarding this incident. It's been reported that first the criminals entered the shop with weapons, closed the shutter of the shop and looted the shop owner and the existing customers. The criminals looted cash and jewellery from the shop at gunpoint. Not only this, valuables were also snatched from the customers. After carrying out the incident, the accused fled from the spot. As soon as the information was received, the police team reached the spot and started investigating the crime scene. The police have registered a case under several sections and several teams have been formed. The miscreants are now currently being searched by scanning the CCTV footage.
And a shocking incident at the Srinagar airport. An army officer has been charged with murderous assault after his dispute over excess cabin luggage spiraled into a brutal, violent confrontation. The confrontation turned physical as well, leaving 4 SpiceJet staffers seriously injured, including one with a broken jaw and another with a spinal fracture. Now, this deeply disturbing episode has sparked serious concerns about passenger conduct and also airport security protocols. Here's a detailed report.
A senior army officer's refusal to pay for extra luggage triggered a violent assault on SpiceJet employees, leaving 4 staff members severely injured. According to the airline, the officer was carrying 16 kilograms of cabin luggage, more than double the 7-kilogram limit. When the airline staff informed the officer about the excess baggage charge, he became irate, repeatedly punching and kicking one employee. The situation turned even more brutal